Let me get my page back up there. All right, well, we will get started since it's 12:05, and if anybody else comes into the presentation, if you would just remind them they can sign up on the chat sheet there. And this is, I think, part 4 of our All Relief April that's being presented here at the college. And we are going to talk about meditation and hopefully do some meditation. So that is the goal today. And just need to hide my share thing so I can forward my slides. So just to get started, I'll introduce myself. My name is Kimberly Lackey. I'm the Director of Student Life here at the college, and I have an undergraduate in psychology and a master's in counseling, so I'm interested in these types of things about reducing anxiety and stress, and that's what meditation does for us. And we're going to specifically talk about the benefits for students. So we had a great presentation that was put on by Ms. Stella Perrin about mindfulness. And if you guys have questions at any time, just unmute yourself and ask a question. But I wanted to put this information up about the difference between meditation and mindfulness. And the difference is that meditation is really a practice. It's in something you do intentionally. It's an extended period of sitting down and contemplating and focusing your attention. Whereas mindfulness is more about awareness. Mindfulness doesn't have to necessarily be intentional. You can be walking from one building to another and take the time to stop and look at a butterfly that just landed on a bush and bring yourself fully into the present, and that's being mindful, making yourself aware of your internal states and your surroundings. And so I love this picture here about the difference between mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness, you see that he's really present and taking in the surroundings, whereas meditation is more about maybe going internally and blocking out everything and quieting your mind. So speaking of quieting your mind, I found a slide that I'm going to show you in a few minutes that shows what it looks like when you go through a meditative practice and what that does to your brain. I found this article about, it was 21 things that you can get as a student from meditation, but I decided to just focus on 10 of them because 21 seemed like a lot for a short presentation, and I want us to practice. So let's look at 10 different benefits that you can have from meditation. Improved attention. Being able to be part of a practice or discipline that quietens your mind actually helps you calm your mind down and helps you bring your attention and focus to what you want to bring it to. Um, Longer concentration time has also been shown with people who do as much as 5 to 10 minutes a day of meditation. And then the emotional benefits and the reduction of stress and well-being and higher self-esteem has all been shown through different research studies. So one of the things that meditation does is that it calms your mind, but it also reduces your stress, which reduces your stress hormones in your body, things like cortisol that are released. And so we know that if you have high levels of cortisol, it's actually can damage your tissue. So meditation will help reduce that stress and just help you feel calmer. People who are able to meditate also just report that they feel better about themselves because they have that sense of control. Um, Coping with stress and reducing anxiety. These are kind of the same things because, again, you're lowering your cortisol levels, you're being intentional about your breathing, and it shows that it just calms you down and it helps you better handle stressful situations. Um, Greater well-being and happiness. There's a gentleman named Dan Harris who wrote a book called 10% Happier. He is a news reporter on ABC, and he actually had a panic attack on the air. Um, After that happened to him, he looked for ways, how can I reduce my stress? And he found meditation, and he said he just wanted to be 10% happier. That's it. Um, he wrote a book called 10% Happier. He has a podcast, which is called 10% Happier. There's also a meditation app. And it has been shown that people who meditate on a regular basis and make this part of their daily practice do report being happier. Since I knew I was going to be doing this presentation, I decided to experiment on myself, and I've been meditating probably 4 to 5 times a week in the mornings for 5 to 10 minutes. And I have to say, I felt a little happier. I felt a little calmer. I know I've been more productive both at work and especially at home. So this is something that I think that I will continue to do, even though I won't be getting ready for a presentation. One of the things I wanted to make a point of with coping with stress and anxiety, the thing about meditation is it's a lot like mindfulness, and it brings you into the present. And being able to not worry or ruminate on what happened in the past, or being really focused on the future, which can bring anxiety, by just bringing in the present, it actually reduces your anxiety. So, 5 minutes a day of just giving yourself time to be still and be present can be really, really helpful. Um, Meditation has been known to help with depression, anxiety, headaches, sleep problems. So there's a lot that you can get out of this practice. So here's your brain scan. Um, if you notice, in the brain on the left, which is the before picture, you have a lot of activity. Brain's very lit up, especially here in the speech centers. And my guess is that this is probably a lot of internal dialogue. It might be a lot of going back and forth between past events or future events, thinking about what's going to come next. And then you can see this brain here on the right, after 10 minutes of meditation, has just calmed way down. So one of the studies that I read said that meditation actually makes the world a bit more trusting place, that people were scaling their friendships before and after meditation, and that they scaled their trust in their friends higher after they had uh, had a moment of taking time to meditate. And so that's interesting that they trust their friends more. Meditation makes you smarter, notice that in parentheses. And what that's really saying here is that meditation seems to help people with their cognitive functioning. Um, it can help you process information better because your brain is in a calmer state that's more receptive. And that makes just kind of intuitive sense. Uh, it's even shown that it might, that third bullet, change your brain structure. They have found people who meditate just have more gray matter. Um, it might build up the structure as far as this calming of the brain and allowing you to process information that you take in. If you think about maybe going into a test that you're anxious about, if you're able to maybe meditate, breathe for a couple of minutes before you go into the test and calm your brain down, you're going to be able to access and retrieve information more easily. Um, like I said, it's been shown to help with depression. Anxiety often is triggered by worrying about the future, and depression is often triggered by focusing on the past. So if you can bring yourself into the present and you're not living in the past or projecting yourself into the future, it makes sense that your depression and your anxiety would be affected by these things. And then meditation seems to improve overall physical health in the fact that if you're reducing these levels of stress and if you're reducing cortisol in your body, then those stress hormones actually have an effect on your heart tissue and can have an effect on your overall organ health. So, improving your physical health by meditating and lowering your stress hormones can really be effective. Okay, I want to check in with the group. Does anybody have any questions before we actually do a meditative practice? Anybody got anything? Okay. Can you give me a thumbs up that you're ready to do some meditation? Are we ready? Okay. So what I want you to do is this is a 5-minute meditative practice. Um, I want you to just sit comfortably in a chair and put your feet flat on the floor, and we're going to focus on breathing. And I want you to just listen to what I'm having to say. And I took this as a 5-minute meditation practice from the meditation um, initiative, which is actually a school-based initiative to bring meditation into classrooms. Um, and so if everybody's comfortable, if you wouldn't mind, close your eyes. I want to tell you a few things before we begin. Nothing's going to happen to you. You're not going to float away. You're not going to think of nothing. Uh, you will not stop your mind, although that would be kind of nice, but that's not going to happen. You're not going to have a mystical or magical experience. This isn't going to solve all of your problems. Um, and there's no right or wrong way to meditate. Really, meditation is just sitting and breathing. And you're not going to experience anything but sitting and breathing. So, posture is important. So, you want to be comfortable so you don't fall asleep. So, put your feet on the floor and sit comfortably in your chair. Um, you want to have your shoulders relaxed and keep your back kind of straight. And you can breathe through your nose or your mouth, just whatever's comfortable for you. I know if you've got a mask on, that's a little bit harder, but just breathe so you're comfortable. And we'll get started. So go ahead and close your eyes and we'll begin. I want you to start by taking 3 just deep breaths. As you settle into a rhythm of breathing, knowing throughout the practice that you will hear sounds inside the room and outside. These are not distractions or disruptions, they're just simply what's happening around us as we sit and we breathe. Now I'm going to allow you time to just breathe. Begin to notice the mind as it wanders, jumping from thought to thought, and gently guide your attention back to focusing on your chest or your stomach. Feel yourself breathe and feel your stomach or your chest rise, and then breathe out and watch it fall. I'm going to breathe for just 30 seconds here. Let's simply continue this practice of noticing our breath coming in and coming out, and we'll do that for just another 30 seconds. Notice your mind as it continues to wander, and release the thoughts, and just return your attention to focusing on your breathing, letting your chest rise and fall as you breathe in and out for another 30 seconds. Breathing in and breathing out, follow your breath as it comes in, as it comes out. Letting your mind wander, gently guide it back to your breath. Let's do that for another 30 seconds. So let go of any expectations or any judgment of your practice. Literally, we're just sitting here and we're breathing. Let's do that for another 30 seconds. With meditation, you'll learn to be comfortable in stillness. You'll understand what it is to just sit and breathe and be aware of your breath. Let's do that for another 30 seconds. And coming out of this meditation, we're going to again just take 3 deep breaths together. Slowly open your eyes and begin to move around. I'm going to read this little statement that they have here after meditation, and then I'd like to find out what you thought of this. The most important part of meditative practice is now. It's immediately after. When you realize that you're sort of quiet still, and there's a peace or a calm that you feel, and that your racing mind may have nothing to do anything I said or nothing to do with anything of how you sat, but it just has to do with what's going on around us. Being relaxed has everything to do with your own mind and your mind's reaction to this situation. What we realize from the practice of meditation is that our everyday life, things happen, and we react, and more things happen, and then we have more reactions. Most people respond to meditation quietly and peacefully, but the question is, how do you respond to everything else that happens in your life? For most of us, this feeling of quiet is different from how we feel an hour ago or how we will feel an hour from now. What we're working on is closing this gap to the way we feel now, this quiet and calm, is closer to how we always feel. We are driven, we are motivated, we're driven to be successful and productive, and yet we can keep our minds steady and focused, distracted by nothing and disturbed by no one. Meditation is not easy, and it's not necessarily fun. It is free, though. It takes nothing but a few minutes every day to calm our busy and racing minds. Meditation is not an escape from reality. It's a direct perception into your own thoughts. When we are in a good mood, it is from thoughts that we're having. When we are in a bad mood, it is from the thoughts that we are having. Once we stop trying to change and control everything outside of us, we work on changing our minds and our hearts to our reactions to the world around us, life gets a little easier, a little more respectful, a little happier, and ultimately, we haven't changed anything except our reactions and our own mind. So that is from the meditation initiative. And you can see here I've referenced it down here if you want to look there. So I want to show you one more screen, and then I want to ask you what you thought of this practice. Here are some meditation apps that I found if you're interested in this. 10% Happier, Meditation for Fidgety Skeptics from Dan Harris. There's also Insight Timer, which is a free app, which is very highly rated. The Mindfulness app, Relax Now, and Psst, which is a meditation app that you can use. The Insight Timer has a 5-star rating with over 200,000 reviews, and it lets you customize things. And then I think the Mindfulness app is from David Ridgway. And the one is basically to help you calm down right before you go to sleep. And I think there's a timer on it, so it shuts itself off. And I just want to remind everybody that De-Stressed Wednesdays continues next week with the finale of our rice experiment. So that's it. Like I said, I'm Kim Lackey, Director of Student Life, and this is my information. And now I'm going to stop sharing content so I can hear about what you guys thought of this practice. So, what do we think? Somebody unmute and share with the group. I'm trying to get back to where I can stop the recording. I'm hearing something in the chat, but I can't seem to find where I can stop this recording. Or not the recording, but get back to the
Kim.
Yeah.
Can you in the chat box list those apps again?
I can.
Or just yeah, I was going to write those down, and then by the time I realized I wanted to write them down, you were moving, which you should have been moving on, but I missed it. I missed writing them down. I kind of remember this mindfulness app, and one's the Fizz or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay. There's the chat. It was an interesting experience. Can you expand on that? Let me put them back up here because you're seeing my screen, right?
Yes.
So I'm still sharing. Here we go. And I will put them in the chat also. Did you find that your mind continued to race and it was hard to focus? Stella, Jalen, anybody?
Yeah, for me, it was, I mean, I have, like you said, you have to learn to quiet yourself. And I have learned somewhat how to do that for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't hard, but it has been something I've had to learn to do, to be in silence, to appreciate silence, to just kind of be good with sitting still.
And someone put in the chat that they found that their mind was calm and at ease. And that's the thing that I've been noticing is just it does help you calm your mind down. There we go. It just, and it's been funny because I've just felt a little bit happier. Now that could be because it's spring and we're getting more sunlight and you go home. But the other thing I've noticed is I've just been more productive when I do get home. And I'm more productive at work too. I'm getting more things done. So I don't know, it's something I feel like my brain really needs and I'm going to continue to do for a while. I do think it could really help people who have test anxiety in particular if you spend time just quieting your mind before you go into a test. So that is mindfulness, and we will have the follow-up, meditation, and we will have the follow-up to our rice experiment next week at noon. And unless there's any other questions, we will sign off here.
Thanks, Kim. It was good to take a break in the middle of the day and just stop and breathe. It's always good.
It's always good to stop and breathe, for sure. Well, I appreciate you guys being here, and we will see you next week.
Have a good rest of the day.
You too.
Bye, SGA.
Bye.